should end by just remarking that my impression is that good things are happening, and the dissemination of ideas and the coming together in itself is a good, and the inspiration we take with us. And I'm certain that we move not exactly in the same direction, and not necessarily to standardize everything European, but we move with less friction and with greater joy from these kinds of meetings, if I may be so free. So, our first evaluation. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. I was very happy with the way things have been developing and the promise that is inherent to some of the activities that have been reported upon and I think that have been undertaken. But that could never be done, and that's, I guess, the final statement, without the efforts and the support of a lot of people that do some invisible work very often. And that is why we have always, as part of the routine, a short moment to pay attention to some personal aspects. Let me remind you, I guess that's most of you are already informed about that, after last year's session, and we tried to innovate gradually. I guess there must be a time that my position is available, so candidates, please, but we decided that we should try to rotate also some people in the steering committee, and the first ones to step down last year were Rudy Lewanski and Kirsten Kolan, and they have been replaced in the application by Bernadette and by Marlene Brands. Bernadette, whom you very well know as the previous secretariat of the network, and in that sense her status was always a little bit unclear. Was she part of the steering committee or not? So we simply decided to reconfirm that she is formally part of the steering committee, with a special task of also helping Mette on some of the administrative strategic issues and next to the activities that she is undertaking in the context of the East-West working group. Marlene, you've just seen. Then earlier this year, two other people had to indicate that they were not being able, due to personal circumstances within their networks and within their personal career developments, to participate. Some of you will already have missed her, and she could not even be convinced to come here again. But Tora Famala had to indicate that she stepped down completely out of the international activities in Grenoble University to devote herself to writing a book. And so she let know that she was going to step down from the steering committee as of that moment. Tora was in charge of the accreditation, and she felt, and she was right about that could be dealt with in a different way. So in the meantime, I've asked Theo van der Krocht to officially become member of the steering committee of the thematic network, so that the relationship between the various activities can even be better coordinated, and that we can benefit from his experience in setting up some of the more generalized issues that are related to quality control and accreditation and joint programs and what have you. So thanks already for the willingness to take on that role as well. I mentioned that the second person, that is Mercedes Alda, going to be part of the steering committee, particularly with respect to the links with the profession. So I'm happy, and that's usually an evaluation criteria nowadays of accreditation committees. I learned yesterday that the majority of members of the steering committee is now female. So we should already score very well on this issue, that you take that into your evaluation criteria as well, but it will probably be imposed of you upon you by the accreditering's anyway. Let me see. So that is, and I think also the other colleagues for what they're doing during the year to try to make this network operate on a continuous basis. Well, then of course there's a lot of people that need to be thanked, particularly with respect to the organization of the annual meeting. Matt is going to leave, but she shouldn't, but I guess she wants to get some people in. And they locked us in. They might have left already. Okay, let's wait a minute before we thank them. Okay. Because, as you know, these kind of organizations in the rhythm, in the life cycle of a network like this, the annual conference is extremely important, I think. We can do a lot online, we can do a lot in our virtual networks, but we need simply to sit down and simply every now and then have a drink and a beer together also in order to make this work. And so it's extremely important that the conference is being organized, and we cannot do that without some local help. And apart from the Dean, whom I thanked already when he was here, I would like to give special thanks to Elena and Javi for their participation. And I have some of presents from them from the Netherlands, from Leiden particularly as an indication of appreciation. And as you have seen, we have a new invention, and I discovered during actually the course of this meeting the advantage of recording everything as a management tool, because now you can stick people to the words. But I think that Brian has done is going to do a great job, but made him indispensable for the future of this network. But I think that it is all being recorded. It's going to be on the website. It's going to be an enormous boost for using that website, and I think also the idea of linking this up with the infrastructure of the university to do joint modules. I think we will actually achieve one of the other goals of which is in general prescribed for thematic networks, is to use as much as optimal as possible the web. I will thank him in a separate way, but be aware that within now and a few weeks you can all look at yourself at your home video and you'll be able to confront it. I've already seen some of the results of this, and it actually looks very, very nice and edited in terms of noise and silence, so that it is but also crystal clear in terms of what people are saying, and not only the way it is looking. But thank you very much for your contribution. Yeah, and then of course the one that has, well, without whom I now have to say we would never have been able to do this. I would never have been able. It's been probably in the toughest year since he has to replace Bernadette, and me constantly on the road and flying in and out, and hardly available for her to try to reinvent and invent and reinvent the wheel of running this network. I think it to her it's going to be it has been an investment, I think, for Mette. Sometimes she was, I think, having more network blues than I at times. But I think also that having gone through this cycle once at least makes it a little bit more easier the next year to come. So the future is a little bit brighter. It's been a hard learning school, but that's of course what was I think she has been tremendously doing a very well job in taking over from Bernadette, almost an impossible job. But she did very, very well, and I think we owe her a large part of the organization of today's conference to her personally. So, Mette, would you like to get up and simply stand? Okay, I think I worked the agenda. Thanks for your attention. Thanks for your time, and I call this 5th annual meeting closed.